guys, and welcome back to Morgs Menu. So today we're doing another copycat recipe, and this one is going to be for Chipotle. Now I've done a recipe already, one of my meal prep recipes showing you how I kind of make a homemade Chipotle burrito bowl for meal preps. That's a really good recipe and video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll have it linked down below. But this one specifically is for Chipotle's salsas and guacamole. So the three that we're making today and the three that I always get are the corn salsa, the Salsa Verde, and the guacamole. So if you're interested in seeing how all of those come out, keep on watching. Alright, so as I mentioned, these are my three that I always get inside of my bowl, but these are also going to be really good, and we're going to do the taste test of them kind of with some chips. So these three recipes I all just found scrolling through TikTok, so I'll link the original recipes down below. For the corn salsa and the verde salsa, I am going to be doing half of the recipe just because we're doing all three and I don't need that much salsa. And the guacamole, we're going to be doing a whole recipe because that only uses 2 avocados, which is enough for like tonight and some leftovers for us later. So I'll start by going over all the ingredients that we're going to need for each one of them, and then we'll start cooking and prepping all of them. So the first one we're going to start cooking, and really the only one that actually has to be cooked, is the Salsa Verde kind of tomatillo pepper based salsa. So for that, we're of course going to need some tomatillo peppers. So you need about 3 to 4. The video, it looked like he used 6 for a full recipe, but his looked a little bit bigger, so I'm going to use 4 of those. You need a couple cloves of garlic, a couple jalapenos, a tomato, some lime and cilantro, and then for spices, we of course have salt and pepper, and cumin and oregano. So this recipe is pretty easy. All we have to do is kind of roast these vegetables up on a pan, and then we're going to blend them all together, add in the spices, and it'll be good to go. So as far as the amounts of everything that we're going to need, we're going to go ahead and kind of prep up our 4 tomatillo peppers, 2 cloves of garlic, about half or 1 small tomato, 2 small jalapenos, and 1/4 of a red onion. We're going to roast those on this pan once we've got everything cleaned and ready to go, and just throw that on a pan, bake it for about 15 minutes at 350 degrees. Once you pull them out, they'll look a little bit roasted just like this, and we're going to go ahead and let them sit for about 5 minutes. Once they've rested, we're just going to add everything to the blender, and then we're going to add the remaining ingredients. Half a teaspoon each of the salt, cumin, and oregano, and then some pepper to taste. You can do about the same amount or a little bit less. Then you want to use the juice of about 1/4 to 1/2 a lime, and then a small bunch of cilantro. Now all you have to do is just let your blender do all the work and just blend everything together. You don't want this to be kind of completely smooth. You still want to leave it a little bit chunky, but just kind of blend it into your desired consistency, and it's ready to go. Once it's blended, you can go ahead and throw it in a bowl, and I would suggest refrigerating this for a little while before you eat it, because you did roast everything. It's probably going to be a little bit warm, and you definitely want, at least in my opinion, cold salsa. Alright, so the second one we're going to work on is our corn salsa. So we'll briefly go over the ingredients, and then I'll tell you exactly what we need to do and how much we'll need of each. So we're going to need some corn in whatever kind of form that you want. I'm going to use frozen corn that's just been thawed. You can either use ears of corn or frozen corn. Basically, you're going to want 3/4 of a cup of frozen corn per ear of corn that you're going to want to use. You're also going to want some jalapeno and lime or lime juice, cilantro and red onion, and the only seasoning in this recipe is some salt. So at this step here, you're going to want to go ahead and either take all the corn off your cob or just go ahead and get your frozen corn thawed out. This recipe calls for 2, so I have about 1.5 cups here. I'm also going to use about 1 small jalapeno. Depending on how spicy you want it, you can either take some of the seeds out or leave them in. I'm going to leave some of it in and take some of it out so it's not too spicy but still has a good kick. You're also going to want to dice up about 1/4 of a red onion, about half a bunch of cilantro, and then squeeze in the juice of a full lime. Lastly, you're just going to salt to taste. I'm going to do about 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons, and you kind of just want to taste it from here and see how salty you want it. All right, and lastly, we're gonna go ahead and prep up the guacamole. So the ingredients for this is pretty straightforward, kind of similar to how I normally make my guacamole, but I'm going to make it as this recipe says to see how close it actually is to Chipotle's. So we're going to need, this recipe we're actually going to be doing the full recipe like I mentioned at the beginning, so we're going to take 2 avocados that are nice and ripe. You're going to want either half of a kind of medium to large or a small jalapeno. Again, take out however much of the seeds that you want. As far as spiciness, I'm going to do probably take about half of them out as usual. You also only need about 2 tablespoons of red onions, so go ahead and chop that up. You'll need about 2 teaspoons or about half the juice of 1 lime. And again, about 2 tablespoons of your chopped fresh cilantro. Then you're going to add in about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of salt and mash it together, and that's it. Alright, so here we have all of our final products. So we have the corn salsa, the blended up salsa verde with tomatillo peppers, and guacamole. So it's now time for each chip to get a taste test. Alright, first up we have corn salsa. My chip already broke. Oh no. Okay. Yep. Tastes just like it. Alright, next we have our green salsa. Also tastes just like it. Wow. And it's got a tiniest bit of spice at the end, but not too spicy. Perfect. All right, can we go 3 for 3? Guacamole. I think I'm going to add a little more lime juice. So maybe the juice of a full lime instead of half. Maybe even a little more to get it to be more Chipotle-like, but otherwise, it's delicious. That will conclude today's video of trying out 3 different recipes for my 3 favorite Chipotle salsas and guacamole. Like I said, all were really good. I would just make a minor tweak to the guacamole and it tastes just like it and delicious, and I'm really excited to now eat these along with some chips and some tacos for dinner. So I hope you guys enjoyed these. I'll link, like I said, the original recipes that I found down below, and I'll write out kind of any tweaks that I made to the recipes, but they were pretty spot on, so shout out to the people who figured this all out. These are good ones. If you're new to my channel, make sure you follow me on Instagram for channel updates and other content throughout the week. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the videos that I post on Wednesdays and Sundays. Thanks again for watching Morgs Menu and I hope you have a great day. Bye guys.